How's it, Bills Mafia? It's just Lance Nelson and Scott Casson here tonight on the Triple Coverage Podcast. And we are brought to you by Monster Energy Drink, the official energy partner of Built in Buffalo. Good preseason week 2 coming up here, but we had a nice preseason week 1, even though the Bills did lose the game, had some good things to pull from. And now it's Bears week, got a joint practice tomorrow in Chicago. The Bears starters will play, but the Bills have not said if their starters will yet. So how do you feel so far? I mean, it's just 1 week of preseason games, and where are you at right now?
Yeah, we saw some good things last Saturday, also some not so good things, but there's a lot of time to fix that. I'm excited to see what comes out of the joint practices tomorrow. Joint practices, to me, are a great way to see where your team is at and get your starters to get some meaningful reps in a controlled environment, whereas in a game, it's not as controlled. So I'm excited to see what comes out of that. It's been a long time since the Bills did a joint practice. I was trying to rack my brain as to when it was. I think it was when they went against the Panthers, and it was so long ago Cam Newton was still there. So like 2018, 2019, because it was that video of like Ed Oliver and Cam Newton talking. But yeah, excited to see the stuff that comes out tomorrow. Excited to see, well, I guess more interested to see who practices and how much with some of the injuries they have. But it'll be good to get everybody some reps against somebody else in a practice environment.
Yeah, I thought they did some things with Pittsburgh last year before their game in 2024, but maybe
Oh,
that
did
escapes
they?
me. But yeah, it is been always nice to see that, and you know, we will see. It's an NFC opponent too, so it's not super familiar guys. It's kind of a unfamiliar thing. I think that it's going to be nice for them in a practice setting, controlled things to really be able to hit
You all
people
right, sir?
without. I mean, you saw in the some of the video, we didn't know kind of Hard Knocks later on, but you saw like some of the players being like, oh man, keep them up out of bounds, and don't try to hurt our own guys. Whereas that same, you don't have that same level of concern when you're going against another team. Obviously, you don't want to injure anybody in the preseason regardless, but you're still going to go a little bit extra against somebody else's guys than your own. So I think that's going to be something to watch for me.
Or it could
um,
be the Bengals and just hate your own quarterback.
could be. Do you think the starter should play at all in Chicago?
On Sunday, yeah, probably. I'd say give him a drive or two, maybe most of the first quarter, and not necessarily everybody, but you know who needs reps and who doesn't. And I think I'd like to see the offensive line. Those guys play, maybe not Deion Dawkins. He's dealing with a back thing that we'll talk about in a little bit. I don't know if Josh will play, because especially if he's going to play in the joint practices, it's kind of the same thing as a preseason game, at least the same idea. So I could see it being similar to what it was the week before, but it was, a Sunday night game, a good opportunity to have this be kind of like a normal week where they get like, it's not like a weird preseason week where you're playing on a random day. Well, it's the NFL, they play it every day now, and any day they can make money. But this could be maybe an opportunity for them to have a normal week. They'll get out there early, play some snaps. But yeah, I would think the starters will play maybe up to a quarter, probably not anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't think they'd see any substantial time, but would like to see more from them. Sort of a rocky start for some folks, and some folks. We'll talk about that a little bit. Who we thought we liked and who we didn't. So next up here, though, James Cook signing 4 years, 48 million, 30 guaranteed, lowers the cap hit by 2.2 mil this year. So break down a little bit what you think about the James Cook, and boy, I'm glad that that thing is over, but let me know how you feel. I mean, just getting it done, it kind of I'm glad to see it. Nobody really has that to talk about anymore. It's the only drama that there really was this offseason, and it kind of eliminated now. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, just happy we don't have to talk about it anymore. Um, Surprised that they went to 4 years, to be honest, but there is an out after that third year. So, for all intents and purposes, it's a 3 year, $30 million deal. Then they have a pretty easy out after year three. 30 million guaranteed is a lot. That's probably where the Bills were able to kind of negotiate. like, hey, we're not going to give you $15 million. That just doesn't make sense. We can get you 30 million guaranteed, which I think he was clearly okay with because he signed the deal with some interesting caveats in it. So for next season, when the Bills could be kind of cap strapped with all the other extensions they have, and Josh's number goes up. His cap it's only 5.3 million based on the way they structured the bonuses, and it freed up I think 2.2 million this year. So it's a backloaded contract, which is where this team is at right now. It is a good thing, just giving them some mobility. But yeah, happy we don't have to talk about it anymore. Happy it got done. Happy that James Cook will be here for the next 3, maybe 4 years. And I did see people talking about what does this mean for his snap counts, and like they're going to have to play him more snaps now. But there's a clause in his contract that if he plays 45% of the snaps or more, he gets like another $1 million bonus. So I think that tells you right there, like he's going to play right around that 50% mark. I don't think this is going to change his role by any means. But excited it got done. Happy we don't have to talk about it anymore, and just go out there and play football.
Yeah, that's what he said today, right? Or yesterday, whenever his conference was, it's just time to go play football. So definitely, what's up, Chris? Definitely something that, is behind us. We're glad. We'll see if anything else gets done this year. I doubt it. John's saying in the comments that McGovern needs to be signed. We'll see. I mean, I would like to
I
have
don't
him
know if
back.
they
He's
have.
good and he's young, but Bean says he can't pay everyone. So we're going to have to see where they choose to take those younger guys and those younger contracts, the rookie deals that are going to be more cap friendly, and, have to make some interesting decisions, especially at center, man. That guy that's going to be most close to your prize quarterback. It's sort of uh, unnerving at times to think like, okay, we're gonna put a third year guy in there who maybe hasn't had much time. If Van Pran Granger were the heir apparent to McGovern, but we'll see. I don't even know if that's going to be the case. They may do something completely different that we're not aware of at this point. So uh,
That's why Von Granger missing this all of training camp and now most of the preseason is such a big deal because can't really see what you have there. And I don't know if McGovern. I would love to have him back, but I don't know if they're going to be able to afford him if he has a year this year the way he had last year. So yeah, maybe next year they're looking for a center in the first round or something like that because obviously Von Granger looked okay last season, but he was a late pick. He was okay in college, but this was a big camp for him to show that hey, that's my spot going forward. He's been out.
right, but he was some considering that he could be the best center in that draft.
Yeah, but he still went in the fifth
But it's
round. So
so he's still
like
fifth rounder. But hey, I don't know. It's
that
something to think
must have
about.
been a weak center draft.
Yeah, for sure. Excuse me. Deion Dawkins went out a little back injury, but the Bills are getting a little healthier. Just take us through some of these injuries, Scott, and what you think about where guys are at right now.
Yeah, so we don't have to go through the whole laundry list again, but it sounds like Dion's back just kind of locked up on him. They're gonna evaluate tomorrow if he can practice or not. Not worth pushing it at this point, but doesn't sound like anything serious. He's just threw out his back a little bit. Who hasn't been there? Cole Bishop and Taylor Rapp are back in doing some stuff. They're not full goes, but they're back, doing some football things, which is good because having both starting safeties injured is definitely not ideal, but at least moving in the right direction. It sounds like Curtis Samuel is getting closer as well. Hopefully, we can see him on the practice field next week. Elijah Moore is just kind of been nursing some stuff, so I don't think he plays this weekend, but nothing serious there. And then Taron Johnson was in the concussion protocol after his big hit on Saturday, but he's going to be fine. So nothing really to worry there. And then, Shakir out of the boot, looking like he's on track to play week 1. Max Harrison, I saw a rumor that maybe he's going to start the year on the IR, which could be more so for like roster spot purposes rather than anything else. Like if he's going to miss a game or two, you might as well throw him on there. But he's off crutches and progressing well. So yeah, our whole squad of injured guys is getting smaller, but it's happening day by day.
Yeah, for sure. In the comments, TJ was asking about Harrison and Shakir. Those are going to be longer term injuries where Shakir is going to um, hopefully be back for week 1. I think that's the plan. That's been the plan since he went out, and it's takes a little load off him in the preseason. I don't think he necessarily needs a full preseason anyway to get his work in and be effective in the regular season. Max Harrison definitely needs the reps and all that, and he's going to be, slower coming along, and he's going to have to be brought along at his own pace, and we'll see how long that takes and how long he actually takes to get back on the field, as Scott just mentioned. So, yeah, I don't think it's doom and gloom. I think other people are stepping in for the preseason reps for sure, and Shakir is going to be, fine part of the offense once things get rolling for real. So I'm not overly concerned about him missing time at camp, whatnot. He did have some time out there before getting hurt, so got some work in, and I think that's just fine. So, I have to say, Teron Johnson's a tough one for me, knowing his play style, knowing that he goes after these hits and he doesn't he just seems to always stick his head in there quite literally, and it's just really tough for that to happen on this team. I not question playing him. He needs the preseason for sure, but I really don't like as much time as he had out there. I would have liked him to maybe have a drive and then kind of just be like, all right, but they have their plan with them. They have their workload they want people to do, and it's just tough, man. You got to kind of protect folks from themselves sometimes. And Johnson's one guy. I was like, man, why is he still out there right now? We don't really need this time on the field, but I understand at the same time the coaches have the plans they do for these players and how to get them ramped up for the regular season. Just a little bit unfortunate that Johnson had to pick up that injury.
Yeah, he's just the kind of guy, like, he only has one speed when he's out there, regardless of if it's preseason, the Super Bowl. Like, he's just gonna play hard. So he saw the ball on the screen and he went and made the play. But yeah, agree with you. Maybe, you know, you don't always have to go that fast, but that's what makes him such a good player.
For sure. Absolutely. Couple of signings here: Trey Herndon, safety, Nelson Caesar, defensive end, with the release of Jalen
Big
Virgil
fan
and
of his
Justin
prowess.
Hollins. Yeah, I would say big fan of the first name. I think a couple of years ago when he came out in the draft, I highlighted him as one of my guys simply for the name alone. I think that's fair enough for me. That if you have Nelson in your name in any capacity, I'm going to like you, and regardless of your football skills, which his have not been jumping off the page in the NFL setting, but he didn't do terrible at a lower level this past season. So we'll see where he's going to go from here.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that Jalen Virgil was released, to be honest. I know he was dealing with some kind of an injury yesterday. Maybe it's more serious than it seemed. Like, he's a guy who was on the 53 for a bit last year. Like, he's a
Right.
stud on special teams. So I was surprised he was let go. He was having a good camp, but maybe his injury is more serious than it seemed. But yeah, Caesar's a guy who was a stud at Houston, went to camp with the Seahawks last season, didn't make the team, has bounced around the UFL or whatever they're calling that these days. Probably just a camp body, but with you never know. Like, everybody out there has a chance to make the squad, so hopefully he can go out and do something. And then did you mention Trey Herndon as well? The safety they brought in. Was a corner. I think he's migrated back to safety as he's gotten older. Was a starter for the Jags back in the day. 2019, a nice little season. I think he had 3 picks, but hopefully that isn't a sign of that these Bishop and Rapp injuries are going to take longer. Hopefully this is, again, just another camp body and they were kind of running out of safeties. Maybe they want to, like, Hancock played safety the entire game on Saturday. Maybe they want more flexibility to be able to move him around because he is a guy who can play multiple positions. But yeah, probably just a couple of camp bodies, but you never know. Everybody has a shot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're threatening anybody's spot here, but let's see what they can do. I mean, Herndon looks like he picked up a tackle against the Giants there, and I didn't notice him in any capacity, so that's probably
I don't think
good.
he was here
But
yet.
oh, did he play for somebody else? So he's got a
Uh,
tackle in the preseason. So
Do does he? I thought we signed him on, like, Monday or Tuesday, but what
that's fair.
yeah, we signed him 2
Um,
days ago, so
2 days ago. All right. Well, there's that.
yeah, maybe.
Can't trust what you read on the internet, folks. So yeah. 2025 preseason, 1 total tackle. So good for him.
He was
Not
on
for
the
the
Colts.
Bills.
He was on the
Colts.
Colts.
There we go.
Yeah, they released him on
90s.
August
Yep.
9th. We signed him on August 12th. One man's trash, as they say.
Yeah, yeah. Here we go. A treasure here. Yeah, we do need bodies. I mean, plain and simple. There is still a whole one roster spot available though now, so it's an interesting thing to say.
Yeah,
You're leaving one spot open. You feel like they would fill
probably for Micah
every if they're
Parsons
needing guys, they probably need. Oh yeah, it's got to be Micah Parsons. But
or
they do have
Brandon
needs
Bean
at
said on the
positions, so it'll be interesting to see how they fill that one spot.
Brandon Bean said on Busting with the Boys that he liked Myles Garrett, so probably that.
Yeah, I think that ship kind of sailed a little bit ago, but
No,
the Micah Parsons sweepstakes is still open, maybe. So, but I guess Hendrickson could still be in play, right? But
I don't. Not with the contracts we've been giving out.
yeah, for sure. Tongue in cheek there, if you didn't catch the humor from us. So, um, all right, yeah, moving on. I guess anything more? I mean, what do you feel about the safeties? Did you? I don't. You mentioned it quickly, but do you feel like the starters and Hamlin, Cam Lewis there? Is there going to be enough, do you think, for week 1 here when we actually start playing for real?
Yeah, I think Bishop and Rapp will be back by then. Hamlin there as well. So yeah, I don't think we have any reason to worry yet. Like we still have almost a month. I know there's only 2 weeks left of the preseason, but it's like 25 days, or I don't know. I missed our countdown today. Like 20 something
Yeah.
days till the first game, so they have time to get healthy, and they're just dealing with nagging stuff. So yeah, I don't think we have anything to worry about yet.
Yeah, Forrest is back there too. It doesn't look like they're putting a lot of
Yeah, I haven't
faith
heard
in
much
him
from
too
him.
much, but we'll see how that plays out. Still relying heavily on Hamlin, and looks like Cam Lewis and Jordan Hancock are right behind him, and then Forrest is behind them. So a little bit of a shakeup as to what you would expect. I think you kind of you might think there'd be a little bit different rotation, but McDermott has his guys and kind of trusts him, and he's not backing off of that. All right, I guess we'll do our Hard Knocks review here next, Scott. So what did you think about episode 2 of Hard Knocks, and any highlights that you had from what came out of there?
Again, it was fun to watch because it was the Bills, but not a whole lot of football content. Uh, it's pretty typical Hard Knocks. The first episode makes you think this is the greatest football team ever assembled. At least this year, it's a team like the Bills and not like the Bears or the Jets or a team who's bad, like it's been in the past. And then after that, they pick a few heartwarming stories like Buffalo Joe and Damar Hamlin, and this team has no shortage of those. But it was a good episode. Like a couple funny moments. KJ Hamler is definitely electric. I'm surprised you're not seeing more Keon Coleman because those two together would be great. But yeah, like nothing really groundbreaking happened, which is kind of what happens in Hard Knocks after the first episode.
Yeah, I kind of saw Josh getting after Keon a little bit in practice, telling me he's got to be there for him and things like that. That was really what you saw of Keon, which is good to see still. I mean, I like that they have that relationship, and Josh is going to push him to get to the highest level he can be at. So it was nice to see some of those things come out of it. Think they did touch on Hamlin again. Obviously, it's something that whenever you're a media outlet, you really can't pass up. But I think that they didn't spend a ton of time. Yeah, it's his scooter definitely is his new scooter now. He's got a real adult
That's
one
right.
with a bell even. So I was very happy about that. Uh, yeah, it's super fun to see these guys' personalities come out though, and uh, I live in Lancaster, so it's cool to see some local places featured on HBO. That's nice. I know that Buffalo Joe Andreessen likes to go down to Scoob's Village Grill here, and their wings are pretty tasty. So it's a underrated place, I think, around the Buffalo suburbs, is to get over to Scoob's Village Grill, and shameless plug here for them, whatnot. So yeah, that was cool to see. I mean, I didn't really have a lot. It just, I enjoy watching it. Josh Allen's always pretty funny when his segment with Bussin' with the Boys was on there, and things like that. Yeah, it's
His
good
interview
comedy.
there was pretty funny.
Yeah,
Bean was pretty good on there too. So if anybody wants to give it a listen, those guys do put on a good show.
Right. Yeah. Steve in the comments saying that Terry didn't really know who 44 was. Yeah. It's, you know, these guys got a lot going on, and, this game, they don't, they're into it. They own it, obviously, but they don't have the time really to put into being a fan, or memorizing things such as we do. Terry's not really just a football owner. He owns teams and does a lot of other businesses on the outside of football.
I'm worried
So
about the
unfortunately,
Sabres.
yeah, he doesn't have his, the full attention on everybody's number and all that. They just, the guys are too busy for that, and rightfully so. I think maybe it would be nice to think that they could know that, but just not really not really surprised by it for me. I don't. There wasn't as much heartwarming stuff really, like the Trey White feature and stuff like that last week. I felt like it was good, and this week, just other players, maybe
Like the
players that,
DeMar thing.
yeah. But I mean, you've
That's
seen it
quite
1,000
literally
times, so
heartwarming.
yeah, it is. But I guess it's one of those things where, you can't take stuff for granted, but it is also something you've heard a million times. So how much more can you
Yeah.
really spend on it? So yeah, it is what it is. I didn't hate it, and I will, it's always fun to see different perspective around the team and things like that. So that's what it provides. That's what I take it as. So if you haven't done so yet, please like and share. We are sponsored by Monster Energy, the official energy partner of Built in Buffalo. Appreciate y'all being here. If you can share it on Facebook and like it there, X, you can repost and like it. And come on over to the YouTube channel and get in the comments here. If you could subscribe to that YouTube channel, we'd appreciate it. Help us get into the algorithm a little bit better here as we try to grow this brand and all of that jazz. So we appreciate it. Scott, you want to take us through offensively here going into preseason week 2?
Yeah. So in preseason week 1, we saw the starters play, some of the starters play, maybe a drive and a half for some of them. Some guys played a little bit more than others, but who, based on what we saw last week and what we've seen through camp, who were a couple guys or a guy you want to see more of this week against the Bears and joint practice tomorrow, and then in the game Sunday night?
Well, I would like to see Cedric Van Pran Granger, but that's not going to happen. So we got to have more of Jacob Bayer snapping balls over people's heads, maybe. But I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more out of the starting O line if they play. Wasn't the strongest performance from them. We noted before the show we were talking about Abdul Carter kind of going 100% versus Deion Dawkins, maybe you know trying out there, but maybe not going full go, and you know getting beat a few times in that scenario. But yeah, I'd like to just I'm going to continue to keep an eye on the offensive line here and see more from really, you really just want to see more from everybody. You mentioned Keon Coleman just a little bit ago. I don't think that he necessarily did anything bad that he needs to step up from, but I just want to
Just
see,
didn't really do anything.
there's one catch across the middle where they kind of didn't have anywhere else to go and dumped it off to him late and didn't really go anywhere. So it'd just be nice to see, somebody kind of break something uh, in this offense.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We talked about it last show. Wanted to see some continuity from the O line. The starters are playing. Obviously, everything is going to be very vanilla, but just see like them like push forward, like see them like assert their will, like take an inside zone and open the holes or give clean pockets. And they didn't really do that. So would like to see them step up. But again, who knows how much that hard they were going out there for Abdul Carter, who got 2 pressures on Dion. No, it's his first NFL game. I know it's the preseason, but still, like it's first NFL game, and he's out there trying to show, hey, I'm going against the top 5 tackle. Like I'm going to show him what's up. And Dion's like, all right, like I'm not going to get hurt. Here's this rookie. I'm just like gonna, just go out there and play hard, but like not try to get hurt. So don't think we have to worry about it yet. But yeah, I would like to see a little bit more continuity this week. I want to see more from the tight end room, not quite as a whole because Kincaid and Knox were fine. Knox had a touchdown, but like after that, it wasn't great. Jackson Hawes, he had a couple really nice blocks, which is probably what his role is going to be. But he had a drop when he was wide open. Zach Davidson, who's trying to make this team, and if not this team, any team, he had two pretty bad drops where he was open. One would have been a nice contested catch, but it's one you got to make, and it got punched out. As a tight end, that you're not supposed to get the ball punched out. So, want to see more from the tight ends this Saturday, especially Hawes and Davidson, because they're fighting for that tight end 3 role. I'd say Hawes has kind of the inside track at it because he was a draft pick and he's a better blocker, but would like to see a little bit more from them in the passing
Yeah, I agree. I mean, um, I don't think we saw too much of Kincaid either, but
game. No.
um, just didn't see a lot from the starters in general. Uh, and they were in and out a bunch, so they didn't really, playing with Mitch, it's just a lot different for the skill guys at least. And then uh, Hawes and Davidson definitely. Davidson could just not catch any. I felt so bad
And
for him
that's
because
supposed to
like,
be
man,
his
he's
thing.
really having a tough day doing the thing he's most noted for, and just was kind of weird. So, good question by John here though. Did you maybe you detailed this? I'm not sure, but Tyrell Shavers, do you have an idea of what he's dealing with or any sort of projection? I didn't see it on my quick search here, but I didn't know if you happen to know anything more.
I would assume it's the same ankle thing. He had the
Okay.
sprained ankle he's been dealing with for the past couple weeks. So I would assume it's that because they didn't say anything about it. So probably just giving him a rest day on that ankle, and hopefully we see him back out here again this Saturday because he is somebody who really impressed me on Saturday. If we want to slide into that,
Right on. Yeah. Go
yeah.
for it.
So I thought the kind of second group of receivers was awesome. Hamler springing open on that deep touchdown. Nice ball from Mike White as he was able to roll out. And then Shavers, it's the Giants corner who was making this one is they're probably talking about him on Giants podcasts for the opposite reason, but there's 15 seconds left in the half and you let a guy just absolutely cook you on a post. He gave like a little half-hearted move to the corner and then just came right to the post. He just completely flipped his hips the wrong way, and Mitch threw a ball. If he puts it out in front of him a little bit more, he scores. We don't settle for a field goal, but he kind of underthrew him and he had to wait for it, so he got tackled at like the 5. But Shavers played really well. He had another nice catch, and he's making it like kind of impossible for him to be cut. Like we were talking about last week. Like I don't know if there's a spot on this team for him. And that is probably still not true, but he's just saying, screw that, I'm taking one. So if he plays that well, and I know they want to see what he can do on special teams more, which from what I understand, he's pretty solid at. So really like what I saw out of that second group of receivers.
Yeah, no, I liked seeing Knox get in the end zone. It's one of those things. Last year, we kind of had a running joke where I was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna bet Knox anytime touchdown," or until he gets there, and it took a couple weeks, but he finally did it. Like Darrington Evans, when he scored his touchdown, I noted to the folks I was watching the game with, it's like, hey, keep an eye on Evans. He's in the game and can be pretty shifty. So liked seeing him get in the end zone there. He's a guy that's just been here off and on, and just there's just a hard path to the roster for a running back right now. So I think if Johnson wasn't so good, Ray Davis being a draft pick, obviously James Cook doing his thing, that Evans would have a spot as maybe a third RB, but it's just tough to get on this roster right now as a running back. And then, like you mentioned, KJ Hamler with the touchdown. Guys commenting in the comments in the YouTube comments here, it was really funny to see Hamler. Hamler's such a character, and I'm glad they kind of highlighted more of that on the Hard Knocks, like we mentioned. There's just a fun vibe that guy comes around with all the time, and yeah, it's one of those guys you kind of root for, but again, another guy that's going to have a tough time having any sort of role. I mean, he does have the speed, and he has been on an NFL roster before injuries, but it's just the Bills are pretty much loaded here with wide receivers, even though they're ranked lower in the skill position groups. It's just they do have their guys, and it's going to be hard for Shavers and Hamler really to break through. I think Shavers is going to be kept as a 6 wide receiver, I predicted, but we'll see how that all shakes out. And if there's 6 there, I don't believe the Bills are going to keep 7, which would be required for Hamler, unless Curtis Samuel can't get on the field and they still keep 6, and Hamler's one of those 6. That's the only scenario I see for Hamler getting on the roster. But I think it's good to see him. Let's see some more of that this coming week here on Sunday. I think that'd be nice.
Yeah,
Do you think
agreed.
that? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I was going to take it somewhere else.
Do you think that who they play with, like playing with Mitch and Mike White, has something to do with some of their uh, performance, and how much do you think they'll mix it up this week? Do you think maybe Mike White gets some reps with the higher end guys, and then Mitch Trubisky takes the other, or do you think they just keep rolling with what they have now, and then because there is talk of a competition for QB2, so in this game will we see more of Mike White with the top wide receivers, or do you think they keep it Mitch going with these guys because they trust him more?
I think they keep going with Mitch. I think he's QB2 until he loses it. Like, he played fine on Saturday. Mike White played fine, but again, out there against the third string guys. And I don't think we'll see Mike White with the top guys, because that would require the top guys to be out there longer, which I don't think they're going to want to do. So, yeah, it's a competition, but I think Mitch is QB2 until like something big changes. We haven't had that change yet. So yeah, I would think this weekend maybe Josh plays a drive with the ones, Mitch plays a drive with the ones, and then it goes Mitch with the twos, and then you get Mike White with the threes, and Shan Bussell with the Make a Wish kids.
Rough. Yeah, that's a good idea, man. I don't know. If they're gonna make it a competition at all, then we'll see more of Mike White. But if there's not really competition as you believe, then I think you just get more of the same, and Mitch handles those duties just as he did this week.
Yeah,
All right, you want
agreed.
to
A couple other
head
guys
on
I
over?
wanted to
Go on.
Well, a couple other guys I wanted to highlight. Just starting receiver with Josh Palmer, he looked really good. We saw that separation that they talk about and how he gets open off the line. I know Stevie Johnson was commenting on some of his releases. Now they reminded him of him. And then Chase Lunt, the Bills' 6th-round draft pick, played awesome. I have the stat here. He was one of 10-ish, maybe a little more, I don't want to count them all, of offensive linemen this past weekend. He played 20 pass protection snaps and didn't give up any pressures. That's awesome. And the thing people were saying about him is he'd only ever played right tackle at UConn. So could he play other places? And he 27 snaps at left tackle, 16 snaps at right guard. So showing that he can be versatile. Maybe he does find a way on the team as kind of a swing tackle or a swing offensive lineman who could play any of those 4 positions outside of center. So definitely big for him, a guy that a lot of people thought, well, why did we draft an offensive lineman? Our offensive line is set, but people probably didn't think Taylor Grable was making the team last year, and there he went. So Chase
Yeah.
Lunt, if he keeps playing like this, he could eke out a spot as well.
Yeah, for sure. There's maybe one spot where Will Clapp was last year that somebody could take, or if there are injuries, then he can take that spot as well.
Yeah, exactly. You got anything else on the offense?
No, I'm excited to see really them hopefully score, be a little bit more interesting to begin the game. I think they did score some points here and there, but it just wasn't. It was hard for me to really get into it, and I'm hoping that Sunday, being at home, being on my couch, less distractions. I was playing with my buddy's kid who was there, and I was talking with Robbie Snyder, who's does the Blizzard 716 podcast too, and just a lot of socialization on during the last preseason game. It was a little bit tougher to concentrate on the actual game itself and get into it, but was able to dance the shout song a few times. We got our free Tim Hortons with the 2+ touchdowns, so we always love our free Tim Hortons here in the Nelson household. So yeah, let's move on to the defense side of the ball, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have bad news for you. I don't think the offense will be that much more exciting on Sunday. I think it'll be
Fair.
pretty boring, but maybe you'll see Josh out there. But we will see. So we'll do the same thing we did for the offense. We'll go for the defense. I'll let you start it off. Who do you want to see step up on Sunday? Who do you want to see more of that you expect more of in the preseason game number 2.
Yeah, I gotta steal your guy on this one for sure because Landon Jackson was someone that I was really hopeful to see kind of get after the quarterback and stuff like that, and just didn't see a whole lot out of him. So that was a little bit tough. Um, as far I wasn't super disappointed with a lot of other people per se. I mean, I think that generally they lost the game and had 34 points scored on them, so it wasn't the best day defensively. But I think some guys, really did some good things. I don't think that um, Trey White was necessarily bad, but it was a little bit rough to watch, like them just go after him, play after play at times, and just kind of like, yeah, he gave up the catches at times and whatnot, but I think he did recover pretty well and make some tackles. So
Yeah, I went back and I watched all of his snaps, and they were all just like short stuff.
yeah,
And I think there was like 3 that were caught in his area, and 2 of them, like it wasn't his zone. Like he just happened to be the one who came up and made the play. So I initially thought that, yeah, I was like, oh, like Trey White's kind of getting exposed. Then I went back and watched, and I was like, okay, he was only like he was the primary guy in coverage, only like one of them. The rest were just like quick outs to the flats, and he came up on it and made the play. Like it wasn't like he was supposed to be in that spot or guarding that guy. It just happened to be completed on his side of the field, and it was more of a check down. So yeah, I don't think he played as poorly as it like initially seen when you're watching. You're like, damn, everything's going left. But yeah, agreed. Would like to see him be maybe a little stickier.
no, I don't have too much bad to say about anybody else on the defense. I think the biggest thing, like was mentioned in the comments, that Landon Jackson negating a fellow rookie's first interception in the league, and luckily just preseason interception. But I think that that was a tough one.
Yeah, he just and it wasn't even like he jumped off sides. He just lined up off sides, which is not great. And yeah, want to see I don't know, want to see something from him. But Leonard Jackson, you knew he was going to be a project. And I saw someone say the other day that like his ceiling is AJ Epinesa. And one, you can't tell that after one preseason game. But two, he was a third round pick. Like, is that bad? Like, what are we
Right.
expecting the guy to be? Like he was a third round pick. We get AJ, if we get a guy who the Bills signed to a second contract out of that, like that's a pretty damn good third round pick. So I would take that from him, but I don't think you can tell a guy's ceiling from one preseason game. But I want to see more from Dane Jackson. I don't know if he has more to give, but if he does, I want to see it. He got burned on that touchdown, and people were talking about like Hamlin. Why wasn't he helping? Hamlin was playing the center third of the field. Like if he would have gone over there, he wouldn't have been doing his job. And yeah, could he have maybe sprinted over there? Yeah, but then he would have been 10 yards away instead of 15 when the touchdown was called. Like he wasn't making a difference. Just like to see a little more from Dane Jackson because he's a guy who's on the bubble. And if Maxwell Harris, then yeah, really Dane Jackson, really. He's a guy, he's on the roster bubble. And if Maxwell Harrison doesn't play the first couple of weeks, which it's looking like that's a real possibility, and then Trey White, I don't know if he's a guy who can play every snap of every game anymore. Dane Jackson's probably going to get some reps in the game, at least early in the season. So would like to see a little bit more from him because in a perfect world, he would probably be an odd man out in the corner room. But with the way it is right now with the injuries and Dorian Strong being a rookie and also a 6th-round pick, like I don't know if they're throwing him out there early. Like he's the guy who's going to get reps in games. So yeah, I would like to see some more things out of Dane Jackson on Sunday.
For sure. Yeah, I didn't really notice Dorian Strong doing anything outstanding, but I thought that I didn't notice him either. So
Which
I
for a
wasn't,
corner is good.
yeah, didn't notice, and that's a good thing. So yeah, who impressed you, Scott, against the Giants, and you want to see continue that momentum here this week?
Yeah, so a lot of the defensive line impressed me. Right off the bat, Joey Bosa looked good. Again, he's probably going about 80%, but he batted down a ball. He made his presence known, and he looked healthy. He looked like Joey Bosa. Hopefully that can stay. Our rookie D tackles, Deone Walker and TJ Sanders, thought both of them looked pretty good. I went and I watched every one of Deone Walker's snaps, and he had a 92 point whatever PFF grade, which was crazy because he really only made one play. So I don't think he had as good of a game as people are making it seem. But that one play was really good. He did a nice slap move on the guard, and he got right to the quarterback and batted the ball down. Other than that, he was just kind of a gap filler. Like, didn't really get off the
Right.
blocks a lot, but you can see that
Well, he got
flash there.
off and hurried that pass that did score a touchdown. He also was there on that
That
one,
was
wasn't he?
TJ Sanders.
Oh, that was Sanders. Okay.
Yeah, TJ Sanders made a really nice play on that as well. Same kind of thing, lined up outside, went right around the guard, and if he was there half a second quicker, it's a sack. And I would have said, and everybody would have said Dane Jackson played great, but he wasn't. And then we mentioned Hancock. He looked solid. Only played safety, which was interesting to me. I think that could have been more out of necessity than where they actually want him to play. And then Matt Milano, he looked a lot like Matt Milano, so that was a good thing. I would do a lot of things to look like Matt Milano, so we'll take it.
Yeah, I agree. And Matt Milano looked really good. I did enjoy seeing the two tackles there, Walker and Sanders, excuse me. And then I don't know. I was watching Bosa from the stands, and maybe my being farther away in the 300s skewed my view a little bit. I still wanted to see him blow someone up or do something, and he did fine. Like you said, he probably wasn't going balls to the wall, but I did want to see maybe just one play where he completely just wrecked it on defense. But uh, he was fine. I think he showed that he's still got a bunch of athleticism left in him, and he's going to be fine this year, I believe, as long as he stays healthy. So. Really liked seeing Andreessen out there with the ones and just making plays. I thought he played pretty well. Maybe got caught a time or two, but overall solid game for him. Seeing Jordan Hancock out of or at safety for so much and not really playing the nickel at all. I thought he did pretty well for a rookie. Obviously, had that one interception that was called back on an offsides play. And then, look, I mean, I gotta say, I'm sorry to Cam Lewis. I think because Cam Lewis is making plays out there, kind of the first one in for Teron Johnson, and also playing some safety reps as well. I think that Cam Lewis is much more integral and going to be a better player for this defense than I had originally thought. So I got to give credit where credit's due to him because I think that Cam Lewis is going to do some nice things. I think he showed he can do some nice things out there in this defense if he's called on.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Um, this team has a lot of depth, which is a good thing. So excited to see some of these younger guys play a little bit more this Sunday. Excited to see what they do in joint practice tomorrow. And I didn't add this to the sheet, but probably should have. Special teams. Ray Davis kicked an extra point. That was fun. But when do we start to worry about Tyler Bass? Like, he still has this pelvic soreness, hasn't kicked in a while. It's going to take a little while to ramp up. Like, when do we start to worry about
I think after the third preseason game, if it's, preseason's over and we're still not really seeing anything going on with him, I mean, he doesn't really need to play in the preseason games necessarily. I don't really think so. So, like, the practices 2 weeks before week one, if he's not really getting in there, I think that Uncle Bud has a good point here. He's been worried about Bass for 2 seasons, but that's
it? He
for
was
different
good at the end
reasons,
of last year.
not for injury's sake. But yeah, no, I think that it's definitely something to be mildly concerned about. I'm not overly concerned. Like I said, I don't think he needs to be out there for, you know, any procedural things. He's done this a million times with this team. He's maybe needs some reps with Robbins as the holder, but overall, I'm not overly concerned until after the third preseason game. If he doesn't play at all in week 3 of preseason, and then if he's not in there that next week of practice, I think you have to really start being alarmed and seeing what they can do. I don't know. Your guy, Caden Davis, is probably not the answer given that he took your money from you. So
He did. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Like, I would prefer Tyler Bass start kicking soon. Uh, you don't want a rusty kicker in week 1, but yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting injury. I don't know if I've heard anyone out with pelvic soreness before. So yeah, I don't feel great about it. it kind of seemed like something minor. Like they didn't even bring in a kicker, and then like, all right, we have to bring in a kicker now. And now it's another week, and he still isn't kicking. Like when is he going to start? When's he going to start kicking? Because that's what he does.
Yeah, it's an important part of his job for sure. But yeah, like I said, are you already concerned, or do you give it some more time?
I know where the concerned button is. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
I haven't hit it, but I found it. I found where it is in my house. Like I know where it
yeah.
is.
Located it in case it needs to be pulled out.
Yeah, I
Um,
checked it. Like there was some dust on it. Blew that off. Made sure I still had it. Like it's either in one or two places. And I went and I found the place that it is.
Gotcha. The over under opened at 36.5, is now 41.5. For the sake of our since you're the gambling expert here, we'll just ask at least a betting question before we get out of here. You got the over or under 41.5 now?
I'm gonna take the over because it's gonna give me a reason to care about this game in the second half. Um, I feel like it might go under. Even though week one went over by like 20 points, but I don't know. The Bears don't
Yeah.
scream over to me, but I do like watching Tyson Bagent play. He is the Bears' backup quarterback, and there was at one point 2 seasons ago. He's undrafted D2 kid. His last two football games at one point 2 years ago were a win against the Raiders and a loss to the Colorado School for the Mines, which is just always a fun stat.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, the week one saw a lot of overs, so you got to go. If I had to pick, I would
Like,
pick
oh,
over as well. Yeah, so well, that'll do it for us here as we got you ready for week 2 against the Bears. We're going to find a lot more out. Unfortunately, a lot of the information will be found out more tomorrow. So keep an eye on the Built in Buffalo social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, and X, as we'll break all the news down for that. And I think we're going to find out a little bit more about whether or not the starters are going to play on Sunday, and just where people are at with injuries, because right now there's not a lot to report on that because there's just not anything there from the team yet. So,
yeah.
you know, I'm not an injury expert by any means, and I know that's a popular topic this time of year, but I'm just gonna let you know straight up. I don't, I don't know unless they tell me. So, I'm just gonna go and watch the big fat guys hit each other on Sunday, and be here to enjoy it and talk about it next week. So, you can get a hold of us on social media if you'd like us to talk about anything next week for sure. Let us know. I can bring up our handles there. I'm at Lance Nelson BIB. He's at Scott or S_Casson14 on X. Most all social media for me. But yeah, get a hold of us. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. And again, smash the like here. We are the Triple Coverage Podcast presented by Monster Energy, the official energy partner of Built in Buffalo. Until next week, go Bills.
Go Bills.